was like involved in rituals or things along those lines, like and eating people and wild.
Yeah.
What do you think that stuff is?
I don't know. I don't.
Do you think it really occurs?
Music, so thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA award.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
Witchcraft, you have bowed to the systems of the world. You have bowed. Any of you who are going to Beyonce's concert, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian?
Kanye West just stepped into a conversation with Joe Rogan, and what came out has the internet buzzing. From what people are whispering, the music industry might have a darker side, power, influence, and something unsettling happening behind the scenes. And when names like Beyoncé and Erykah Badu start getting pulled into that discussion, it makes you wonder, are these just wild theories, or are Kanye and Joe hinting at something people weren't meant to notice? Because once you really start paying attention, patterns begin to show. And one name that keeps coming up again and again: Beyoncé. Now let's be clear, no one is questioning her talent or her work ethic. That's undeniable. But what people are questioning is her level of influence. The streets are loud, claiming it's almost controlling, some even calling it something darker. Think about it, why is it that so many artists, when they win an award, feel the need to thank Beyoncé first? Not their team, not their journey, but her. And it's not just once or twice, it keeps happening. Remember when Lizzo broke down on stage, overwhelmed with emotion, saying Beyoncé changed her life?
Who believe in you and support you. Beyoncé, whoo! In the 5th grade, I skipped school to see you perform. Where you at, Beyoncé? My eyes are wet. I love you. God bless y'all. Wake up!
And what about Adele? The moment still gives people chills. She stood there, holding her Grammy, visibly emotional, and then did the unthinkable, she broke it in half, just to share it with Beyoncé. Think about that for a second. An artist at the peak of her career, winning one of the biggest awards in music, and instead of celebrating herself, she redirects that moment. Almost like the spotlight had to be shared. That's the kind of thing people can't stop talking about. Coincidence? Respect? Or something deeper that keeps pulling everything back to Beyoncé?
And I'm very humbled and I'm very grateful and gracious, but my artist of my life is Beyoncé, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyoncé, it was so monumental and so well thought out and so beautiful and soul-bearing, and we all got to see another side to you that you don't always let us see, and we appreciate that. And all us artists here, we adore you. You are our light.
Even artists who came before her, like Mary J. Blige, still seem to feel that same pull to acknowledge Beyoncé. And that's what really gets people thinking. When someone with a legacy like Mary's, someone who helped shape the industry, still gives that kind of recognition, it hits different. It's not just admiration anymore, it feels bigger, almost like an unspoken rule.
So I have a lot to say, so please don't roll the wrap it up music over my thing. So the way the world is now, I think people think icons are born that way. They become a legend overnight, but that is definitely not the case. It takes a lot of time, hard work, and a lot of surviving trial and error to achieve greatness.
Even Shabuzi gave a shout out to Beyoncé at the 2024 People's Choice Country Awards, and that moment had people pausing like, wait, why? It wasn't expected. It wasn't even connected to the moment. And that's exactly why it stood out. Moments like that keep fueling the same question: is it just respect, or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes?
Any artist could ask for, and thank you, Beyoncé. You're amazing, yeah.
As one user bluntly put it, what did Beyoncé have to do with this guy winning? Why does it feel like everyone's being pushed to worship her? Disturbing, right? Another person added that he should have at least explained why he was thanking Beyoncé. And it doesn't stop there. Even Britney Spears, a global icon who came before, has publicly praised Beyoncé. Now pause for a second, because that's not typical industry behavior. Gratitude usually flows upward to mentors, to pioneers, to those who paved the way. So why does it feel like the hierarchy flips when Beyoncé is involved? Is it pure respect, or something influencing the moment? And this is where things get even more uncomfortable. People started revisiting the 2009 VMAs moment. You remember it, Taylor Swift wins, the crowd is cheering, and suddenly, Kanye jumps on stage saying,
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
Back then, people called Kanye crazy, disrespectful, completely out of line. But now? The question has shifted. What if he wasn't just interrupting? What if he was redirecting attention away from Taylor Swift? Think about it. If Taylor had simply accepted that award and not acknowledged Beyoncé, would things have played out differently? Would the backlash have been worse? Would her career have taken a hit? And here's the twist, what if Kanye thought he was protecting her? That idea alone flips the entire narrative. Now suddenly, old stories, rumors people used to laugh off, don't feel so funny anymore. They're resurfacing, louder than ever. Whispers about Beyoncé's performances, not the music, not the choreography, but what happens before she even steps on stage. For years, there have been claims about closed-door preparations, candles, precise formations, moments some describe as almost ritualistic. Of course, fans say it's just artistry. Creative direction. Stage design. And that's a fair point. But then there are others, people who claim they've been in those spaces, who say the energy felt different. Heavier. More intentional. And then there's the whole Sasha Fierce conversation. Was it just a stage persona, or something deeper tied to how she performs? Because even Beyoncé once described Sasha as something that takes over when she steps on stage. Now take all of that, and combine it with what people are saying today. Suddenly, that conversation doesn't feel so simple anymore. Y'all remember the 2018 situation, Kimberly Thompson, Beyoncé's former drummer, someone who worked closely with her for 7 years. And then, out of nowhere, everything shifted. She filed legal documents making serious claims, saying she was being harassed, that her phone was being monitored, even going as far as mentioning spiritual attacks. That's the part that really made people stop and look twice. Because when someone that close to the inner circle speaks out like that, it hits differently. But at the same time, it's important to remember those claims were never proven in court. No solid evidence backed them up. Still, the story spread, and for many, it became another piece of a puzzle they were already trying to figure out.
I think she
went and killed the girl Cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drunk. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her while she was asleep. No snacking on his people Cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician. She was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington. Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington.
Now, legally, the case didn't go anywhere, it was dismissed. But that's not what stuck with people. What really lingered was this question: why would someone risk their entire career making claims like that? And then what happened next? Kimberly Thompson struggled to find work. Maybe that's just how the industry operates. Or maybe, that's where the questions really begin. And just when it feels like it couldn't go any deeper, more names start getting pulled in, because Beyoncé doesn't exist in isolation. There's Jay-Z, there's Diddy. Suddenly, the conversation expands into powerful circles, private gatherings, influence that feels bigger than just music. And once people start connecting those dots, old tragedies get dragged back into the spotlight. Like Aaliyah, her passing, the rumors that never fully faded, the constant speculation about who was connected to who, and who might have benefited after. But it's important to pause here. A lot of this lives in the world of speculation, not confirmed fact. Still, the reason it keeps resurfacing is because people are trying to make sense of patterns they feel are there even if the truth isn't always clear.
Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
She was our age, and it's just scary because that could have been any one of us. And she was an angel, and I know that now she's with God.
Now again, nothing has been proven. But the fact that people are still asking questions over 20 years later, that says something. And then there's Pimp C, outspoken. Unfiltered. Never the type to stay quiet. Before his passing, he hinted at things happening behind the scenes, things that didn't sit right with him. He didn't always spell it out, but the tone? The energy? You could tell he felt like something deeper was going on, something most people weren't seeing.
That's right. So I immediately picked up the phone and called Pimp C, because all I was trying to get was 100,000. When Dame cut that $1 million, I called Pimp on the phone like, yo, Pimp, and him and Jamal was in the house. And I could hear a tussle or some type of confrontation, right? And I'm like, calm down, bro. Y'all calm down, Pimp.
I ran up the cable bill.
They was fighting. Okay, they was fighting like hard. And I'm like, Pimp, stop whatever you doing right now. I told you what was going down with Jamal when you moved him up in there. I said, but right now, I got $1 million check for you. All we want was 100,000. I was just like, who is that with? I said, with Rockefeller. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. He was like, I'm watching Dan with the checkbook, he writing out. He was like, ain't that with, over there with Jay-Z? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, tell him to take that check to go give it to Tupac Mama, man. He's gonna be stealing all my I was like, what?
The streets have also been loud about Pimp C supposedly having access to a wild tape involving a major celebrity. Some even go as far as claiming it allegedly involved Beyonce. Now pause, because this is where things cross into pure rumor. No proof. No confirmation. Just speculation that's been repeated so many times, it starts to feel real to some people. And that's the danger, when whispers get louder than facts, the line between truth and storytelling starts to blur.
Who was in this Pimp C tape?
All I can tell you, there was a famous R&B chick, and it was a guy that was getting money at the time. And, you know, Pimp, he used to be in the studio. And every now and then he'd have a camcorder, so he was able to get some footage. And he wanted to do something with the footage, but I don't know why he didn't do nothing with it, but if I could have got a hold of that tape, I'd be a billionaire, man. Hey, whoever it was, they would have to kill me, man. I know TMZ would have paid a bank for that one, man. But yeah, it is a tape, and if you read the comments, a lot of people figured out. Because, you know, people that was in Houston at the time, they know who was a little loose, you know, as a Montana goose. You know what I mean? So, you know, they also know who was having money at the time. So it's not really hard to figure.
Pimp C passed away in 2007, officially due to complications linked to lean use and sleep apnea. But even with that explanation, some people close to him felt like the story was never fully clear. And that's where the unease lingers, when an official answer exists, but questions still refuse to fade.
Tell me something, like, you know what I mean? And the most I could get was, I never got if the door was locked or not. I had to break it down. Because if the door wasn't locked, that means somebody left out.
Right.
If the door was locked, that means he felt good, he locked it, he was in there.
Right.
It's a whole different level of what happened. A lot of shit goes out the window if I just know that part.
Right.
But then, it's like, I heard some clothes on or something, I don't know, like, I don't really know if all this is true, but I just heard parts like, I'm like, what happened to my guy?
Right.
And then they come out with the official. It was a mixture of some stuff, the prescription and something else or something that I don't really know. But with me, I never really heard something that would give that closure for me. I never really heard anything.
Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough? You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston?
Now let's shift the focus for a moment, because Beyonce isn't the only name in this conversation. There's also Erykah Badu. And her situation feels different. Unlike Beyoncé, Erykah doesn't shy away from the mystical label, she embraces it. She's called herself a high priestess of neo-soul. Her entire presence, her music, her visuals, her performances leans into spirituality, energy, and inner transformation. And she's been open about it. Open about rituals. Open about intention. With Erykah, it's not something hidden or whispered about, it's part of the identity she shows the world.
I'm not clairvoyant like that. I don't see things, but I definitely feel it.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like we can visibly see your third eye.
Mine?
Yeah.
You might can see it.
And you already know the internet ran with that. People started saying that being around Erykah Badu changes you, that something about her presence shifts people. And then they point to artists like Andre 3000, Common, and Jay Electronica, claiming they seemed different after being in her orbit. And now, that same energy, the same kind of narrative, is being placed around Beyoncé, casting her in a similar, darker light.
I didn't know, because they tell me Beyonce's a witch and like that, that we should be scared. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. She's an Ifa. So when she wears her yellow, that's Oshun.
Oh.
Riches and beauty and love and all of that, which I can see why she's connected to Oshun. But yeah, so it's another kind of tradition.
Now step back for a second and look at everything together. Kanye raising questions. Artists constantly thanking Beyoncé in ways that feel unusual. Old accusations resurfacing. Stories about rituals and behind-the-scenes preparation. Erykah Badu's spiritual image getting pulled into the mix. And then you've got Joe Rogan hosting conversations about powerful circles where names like Beyoncé, Erykah, Diddy, and Jay-Z keep showing up again and again. Individually, each piece has an explanation. But together, it starts to feel like something bigger. And that's where the real tension lies. Because this isn't about proving anything, it's about patterns, perception, and why the same names keep appearing in the same conversations over and over again. And trust me, the online community has been loud about it. One person said, if people think Beyoncé is the only one tied to something like this in the industry, they're being naive. Another shared a personal experience. I went to a Beyoncé concert in Chicago years ago, and the energy felt strange. People were crying, praising her like she was more than an artist. I remember thinking, why does this feel so intense? And now the spotlight turns to you. Why do so many artists feel the need to thank Beyoncé, even in moments where it doesn't fully connect? Why do stories from years ago keep resurfacing and hitting harder today? And when it comes to Erykah Badu, is her spirituality being misunderstood, or are people picking up on something they can't quite explain? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this.